Welcome back to the Christian Music Guys, the podcast for Christian music fans by Christian music fans. Well, Chris, this week we have a very, very special episode of the Christian Music Guys. A few weeks ago, we had some friends of ours head to the K-Love Fan Awards in Nashville, Tennessee. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. We have our friends Chad and Johnny. Chad's with, we've had him on the show before with 90s Worship Nights, and Johnny with the Cotton Eye Joe Project is with us tonight. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's so good to be here. Listen, we're still, I've got to tell everybody, those cowboy boots were not mine. I borrowed them to make sure I was in full Nashville mode. But yeah, it was such a good time.
Yes. And now Johnny is in method actor mode here with his VBS character.
I didn't know if we were going to bring attention to my swag
let's
today.
Bring it to it. Yeah.
So, red carpet by
Elton,
day.
tell us what that's about.
Yeah. Red carpet by day, VBS by night. No, it was so fun. A lot of the red carpet interviews. A lot of these guys, they're church kids, right? So some of the stuff that we didn't catch on camera was having some of these conversations about church kid stuff. And so I could just imagine that everybody on that, maybe your favorite Christian artist at one point was in a VBS production.
Yeah.
And those are the photos we want to see. So if you're watching, Toby Mac, if you're watching right now, we want to see your VBS photo. But I just imagine they've all been in a bandana with some whatever these are. I don't know. Furry
feathers.
Feathers. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so VBS era.
So I literally had our VBS, we call it Kids Co, and it was literally just this past weekend, and it was safari themed. So I had a full tan jacket, the green pants.
I love it.
Floral thing, the hat. I even had the thing on my shoulder.
No. That one of the conversations we had with Jen Johnson, we didn't post it. I thought about clipping it up. I may still. We had a whole 5-minute conversation about Bluey, the kids TV show.
Yeah.
Because what you didn't see on camera is my kids were on the other side of the red carpet, literally watching Bluey on tablets, so that we could do the interviews and kind of keep them entertained or whatever. So there's a whole 5-minute conversation where I had a whole Bethel revelation on Bluey. Maybe I'll keep it to myself. I don't know. It's between me and Jesus. I don't know. But yeah, it was a good time.
Now, Chad, we were told that, speaking of VBS, that you used to be the guy in the Salty songbook outfit. Is this true?
No, I have probably never participated in VBS. I have never volunteered for VBS. None of that. So I am very, I have a lot of pride in that fact.
Are you sure you're going to heaven? Because I think it's a requirement.
Yeah.
They're going to check your Royal Ranger card at the pearly gates.
Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh.
That is too funny. Royal Rangers. I haven't heard that in a while. What was the girls one?
Oh gosh.
Rockettes?
I know that Rockettes, and then
I don't think it was. Isn't that a thing in New York? The dancers?
Where the girls do the things.
No.
Yes.
I think Awana was one of the main popular ones. Still is, I think. Whatever Awana is, I think that's a more of a
no. But the Royal
Baptist.
Rangers, that was the guys, and then they had the girls one.
Yeah,
the
Girl Scouts.
No, they have the cookies.
I don't know. Yeah, they did that. They did. I can't remember.
Well, if you're out there, let us know the girls' version of Royal Rangers. Maybe it's Royal Sisters or something.
So, Chad, Johnny, what would you say would have been your favorite part about the whole weekend? It could have been red carpet. It could have been one of the sessions. What was your favorite?
Yeah, I think for me, and I know Chad has some stories too. I think for me, I was overwhelmed, honestly, about kind of around the fan support. I mean, obviously it's the fan awards, but the whole weekend it felt like Coachella for Christians, right?
Yeah.
Like it was just, I mean, people made T-shirts, custom, right? I asked a few people, "Hey, where did you get that shirt?" And they said, "Oh, I made it." So the energy and the buy-in from the fans for the weekend, the whole weekend, was something I think caught me a little bit off guard. I didn't expect it to feel so much like a community. Caleb is doing something right in that way, because it really did feel like all weekend long a community of believers, of friends, of fans. So I think my favorite part was just being in that environment and getting to talk to some of them. You know, we posted a few of the reels of us just interacting and connecting with fans. And a lot of it was really fun, but there was a few moments with fans where they really peeled back some layers and shared stories with us. These songs are really meaningful to a lot of people. So for me, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was cool getting mistaken for Bodie, you know, whatever.
Or his uncle.
Shout out, yeah, or Timu Force Frank. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's trending. But I think, man, again, just connecting with the fans and their love for Christian music, the community around it, was really, really special.
Yeah, I definitely second what Johnny just said. You know, probably that was probably my favorite moment, at least from a media perspective, was when, you know, the first it was on Saturday morning, right for the first session, and we got a bunch of you know, just little iPhone, you know, clips of Johnny talking with the fans, asking them what was it, like their Mount Rushmore of
Yeah,
Christian artists and different questions like that, and you know, just to kind of see them light up, and you know, it's very fascinating just to hear, you know, their answers, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really was. And what I was another surprise, pleasant surprise, the generations represented, you know,
Oh yeah.
multi generations from grandkids to grandmas, just all kind of there hanging out. And some of these grandmas, you know, I asked them, "What's your favorite artist?" And I was expecting, you know, like a Smitty or you know, Stephen Chris Chapman. And I got some of them, but this one lady said Lecrae, and it sent me. I'm
Yeah.
still recovering because I wasn't ready for her to say that Lecrae was her favorite. And a lot of Forrest Franks from old, you know, not just young generation, but older generations. It was just really, really interesting and neat to have those conversations built around our shared love for Christian music. Is really cool.
Did y'all enjoy the Coca-Cola uh, party at Saturday night?
I went. I think Chad was asleep. I think his bedtime is 9 p.m.
I I enjoyed some Coca-Cola in my my dwelling place, an hour away from said venue. So
You know, it was
yeah.
so fun. Actually, I have a story. Exclusive, right? Ryan Seacrest, if you're watching, this is for you. We were there. Valerie, she's like my bonus kid. She just graduated. I'm old enough to have a kid who could graduate college. So I'll be 40. I'll be 40 on Sunday. But Valerie, she's graduated from
I'll be
Georgia. Go ahead.
I'll be 40 Thursday.
Let's go. Let's go.
Dude,
Yeah, dude,
happy
I'm
birthday,
so much older
friend.
than you, bro.
It's our
Happy
wilderness era.
birthday.
We're in the wilderness.
No, I'll be 41. Chris.
Well, you know,
Yes,
That's
I'll be
hilarious.
40. I forgot. I was born in 84. Johnny, not yeah.
80. Okay, 85, staying alive. So Valerie, I mentioned
Squirrel.
that because yeah, she graduated from Georgia State with her film degree, and so she was doing a lot of the filming for us. And so we were at the Coke party, just kind of getting some B-roll, and Bodie walks in, back to Bodie, and you know he's such a good dude. You know, y'all have met him, and he's a newer artist, so he walks in, I guess not thinking he needed some sort of maybe security or support.
Yeah.
He walks in like a normal guy, and my dude got swarmed, bees to honey.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, and like I was like, oh snap, like, and he's a tall guy, so all you saw was like from like the shoulders up, and all these fans just crowding him, and finally somebody like called his support, his escort, his
Yeah.
whatever, and
The red letters.
they were able to get him to his designated area
Why didn't you
so
help
that
him? That's your son. I mean, you
well,
should have helped him.
my first thought was, are we recording this? You know, like, can we get the
Yeah.
footage? But it was really cool. The Coke party was really, really cool. They didn't have Diet Coke, which I was bummed about, but they did have the new orange cream Coke and Coke Zero. So, and some Coke floats. So it was really cool. A lot of the artists from the songwriter showcase from earlier that night were there doing meet and greet. So it wasn't just uh, a soda, potluck or whatever. It was like it was an opportunity for fans to connect with some of their favorite artists. So it was super super cool. We didn't stay very long because my bedtime's not too far beyond 9 p.m. myself. And it was the song, the show songwriter showcase. It went for a few hours, but man, it was really really cool. Again, the community, the energy, the vibe around the whole weekend. 10 out of 10. I mean, it was just incredible.
Oh yeah. It's always fun to walk around and see the people with the lanyards like further in, like at the Opry Hotel, like, and just be like, you have that,
Yeah.
like you, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, for sure. It was great.
So your all's thoughts on the red carpet? We told you all from the beginning the red carpet is crazy. It's small, but it's like, let's see how many thousands of people we can cram on this red carpet and get away with it.
Yes. Yes. It was, so y'all warned us a little bit about I guess the energy level, the vibe or whatever. But I think what I wasn't ready for, and shout out to all the publicists in the game today, real MVPs, because there's some people, there's the artists that we know, but then there's the up and coming artists that maybe you don't know, and their PR and their publicists, they want to make sure they can get these guys and girls in front of as many cameras as possible. That's their job, right? And so, literally so we're waiting on certain artists, and other artists are being like thrown. Hey, this is so and so, blah blah blah. He's the next best thing since sliced bread. Can you And so I'm like, sure. So we're just, it was, once it started, it was like boom 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 boom
Yeah.
boom boom boom, and then you come up for air and it's like it's over. So I think I wasn't, even though you guys warned us, I wasn't ready for the insert of, hey, you got a second, I got this guy, he just wrote a book, boom boom, and it was just like we didn't have to wait to connect with people. People were ready to connect with, as best they
Yes.
could. So it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say I would like to make a public service announcement right now.
Oh, God.
On behalf of our friends, the Christian music guys, all you A-list artists out there, yes, I know you are at the pinnacle of your career, and you only have to talk to on the red carpet, probably TBN and K-Love, and then just gather around in a circle and talk to your other A-list artist buddies. But you're not going to be an A-list artist your whole career. So on that way down, the other media kind of remember who talked to you and who didn't, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
So I would just like to, just maybe throw that out there a little bit, kind of as Johnny was saying, some good PR. Yeah, maybe try to talk to everybody, you know. And I have to give credit. Matthew West came over specifically because he's like, I gotta talk to Christian music guys, even though you guys weren't there. But
yeah.
as your proxies, he was really, really cool, and you could tell he made a deliberate effort to get all the way through the
Was
red
he
carpet.
thrown off when he saw you guys instead of us?
I mean, I'm a pretty good looking dude. No, I'm sure he was like, if they sent these guys, then I guess they're cool, So maybe we were cool by association. But no, Matthew, he was cool. Like, it was fun. I'm sure you've noticed with some of the reels that we posted, we tried to kind of spice it up a little bit, and we asked some of the serious, heartfelt questions, but we also asked some of the lighthearted ones too. And I could tell 9 out of 10, whenever we would ask one of those fun questions, you could just see the walls come down, and they were like, like, this one's going to be fun. They're not going to ask me what my third favorite proverb is on a cold day while drinking hot cocoa. Maybe that's cool. I mean, I don't know, maybe they will. But, I was like, so where are you going after this? Taco Bell or Del Taco? And it was just like, And so Matthew, one specifically, I started serious with him, and then I slowly, because he's an intimidating guy. Like, this guy is all business. Like, he just has an aura, if I could speak Gen Z. He's got an aura about him, like, this guy, this is the real deal. And so I kind of slowly leaned into the fun stuff. But the last question I asked him, because he's a pretty funny guy, I said, what's your favorite dad joke? And he says, yeah, y'all want to know? what his favorite dad joke is. He said, "What?"
Yeah.
He said, "I just heard one." He said, "What's an astronaut's favorite key on the keyboard?" The space bar. And I was like, "Yes, let's go." It was great.
Of course it
Um,
is.
but
Yes.
yeah, I mean, he speaks so well. Even in the press room,
Oh,
he stood out. I mean, there's a reason why this was,
Right.
I think, his third time hosting. I mean, he's a cut above. I mean, they're all incredible, but he's
yeah.
just got the boom. He just speaks so well, carries himself so well. It was a
Well,
joy.
and I will say, I mean, really, I mean, Johnny, correct me if you disagree, but everyone that we talked to was just so well polished. I mean, I was very, very impressed with how everyone handled themselves on the red carpet that we saw, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, it was great. Shout out
So I
again
mean
to the
that,
PRs.
yeah, well, and I think that also, for any up and coming artists who might be, listening to this podcast. Man, that's such an important part of being an artist is being able to represent yourself and have those conversations on places like the red carpet. And it's high stress. I mean, there's
Yeah.
questions coming, at you, a lot of stimuli of all kinds going on, fans yelling, cameras flashing, all of that. But to keep your poise and handle that, and then a lot of them, minutes later had to go on the stage and perform, in front of a
Yeah,
live studio audience, so to speak.
Right.
So I was very, very impressed with how the artists handled themselves.
Yeah.
yeah, it
Well,
was great.
Johnny and Chad, Gracie Binion, she comes up with her new husband on the red carpet.
Yes.
And, Gracie, she's up and coming. She just got signed to Beck Records.
Yeah,
And her parents are worship staples in the
Yeah.
industry. David and
Fri-
Nicole Binion, written
Friends
Yeah.
of ours, friends
so
of
many
90s Worship Night.
songs.
Yes.
Yeah, they're awesome. Well, tell us about the conversation you had with Gracie and
yeah,
what made you decide to do what you did.
yeah. So there's a reel out there. It's pushing 500,000 views right now. But so I saw Gracie, and I didn't know she was coming our way. Because she's up and coming and new.
Well, I don't think she wasn't even officially on the red carpet
I don't think
list.
she. I don't think she was.
Yeah.
But I saw her, and I recognize her. I've known her mom and dad along. Again, I'm old. I'm in about 40 years in the wilderness era. But so I said, hey, I just made a joke, just being the Lord made me a certain way, So I said, hey, your dad's left my text message on red since 2012. And she just I broke the ice, and I was like, can we chat for a minute? And so we're hanging out, and Malachi is such a good dude. Her husband, he's kind of standing back. I was like, come on up here, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
let's hang. And so we're talking through a few things, and the reel that I posted, I'm actually in the background dancing. So a year ago, I just got back from Idaho. A few days ago, I was doing leading worship at a camp out there, and a year ago, same camp, we're doing Goodbye Yesterday, and the students, the teenagers, start dancing. What I think, I don't know. We'll get there. We'll get there. What I thought was the Cotton Eye Joe.
You
Apparently,
were
in
wrong.
Idaho, they don't know what the Cotton Eye Joe is, but they're doing it. And so I thought, oh, this is cool. So we did a little reel, posted it, done. Right. A year passes, and here we are, just chatting with Gracie Binion, and me being me, I said, hey, did you know that Goodbye Yesterday is the same BPM as the Cotton Eye Joe? And she's just, she's so great. She finds the humor in it. She's cracking up. Malachi's cracking up. She's like, what an honor.
Yeah.
What an honor to be associated with this song. And so we posted the clip with her, the conversation with her with the dance in the background. And let me just tell you, the internet came for your boy.
Yeah.
Because apparently either we did the wrong Cotton Eye Joe, or there's like an East Coast West Coast rivalry when it comes to the Cotton Eye Joe, and so we did it wrong apparently, and the Pentecostal praisers came for us, and they said, this is not
Yeah.
this is not my Cotton Eye Joe. And so
The
yeah, it's
internet
blown
remains
up.
undefeated, guys. It
Yeah.
remains undefeated.
So, but because of that, it kind of shot this reel into the stratosphere, and we're almost at 500,000 views on this reel, and a lot of shares. I think most people really enjoy it because the caption was "New camp, camp hack unlocked." Right, like do this at your next camp, And so I think a lot of people found a lot of joy in it. Like, oh, this is cool. Like this this will add some life to our camp. If you've ever been to a student camp, you got to have some ideas, and they're going to look at you like a deer in the headlights unless you are a Pentecostal praise church. And then maybe they don't. But most camps, if you don't lead them in that way, they're just going to stand there, pick their boogers, right? So at first I thought, oh man, people are behind this. Like, we've just helped out a lot of people. We've done some good we put some good out there in the world. And then here come the trolls. That's not the Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then it goes from like a respectable 10,000 views to a controversial 300,000 views.
Well, I will say that Johnny did a lot of good, though. He is probably single-handedly why Goodbye Yesterday was #1 on Loop Community this past week. So
Yeah.
Gracie definitely was laughing about that, I'm sure.
Praise.
So well done,
How
Johnny.
many death threats did you get, Johnny, because of that?
I've shut off my DMs. So speaking of, I don't know if we want to talk about it. Maybe this is a prayer request. There is a certain fan page of a certain artist that has found us. Colton Dixon, if you're watching, blink twice if you need help.
Oh my goodness!
My God,
this is the part that's going to go viral.
This.
Oh my gosh!
There's a fan account out there that wants a lock of that bleach hair. And
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, his music is meaningful to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this is one of those people, apparently.
Well,
so
we have to, like I said, I'm glad that, Jacob, Chris, you guys are going to be back doing this like regular next year, because I mean, Johnny and I are starting to get recognized out in public, guys, and I just don't think we'd be able to do it next year at this trajectory, because it would be an unsafe environment for us.
I mean, I think if you guys ever fill in for us again, you need to take Colton Dixon's fan and
we'll DM her a bus ticket, not a plane ticket. I don't trust her with the
Oh
airlines.
my gosh. Johnny's going to send her to the Greyhound downtown. Like, there you go.
If you get here,
oh, that's great.
I feel personally threatened, and I'm not even Colton. But yeah, anyway. So
Johnny, we know you got to go because you got to go dance, whatever you're going to be doing.
They go do the cha-cha slide with 200 VBS
But we want to
kids.
ask you guys a question that we always ask every person on our show at the end of our episodes. And it's simply this. We'd like to see if you guys would be willing to share something that God's been doing in your life recently that would help build our viewers and our listeners' faith.
Yeah. I'll go first, Chad, because you're gonna drop a revelation, and we may fall out.
He's going to take up an offering.
Yeah. No, it all kind of connects to the conversation we've been having. Even just the opportunity, which, by the way, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I know we've texted and thanked you, but publicly, just thank you so much for trusting a couple of crazy guys to go out there and do this. But it's really, for me, it's highlighted, when God gives you a gift, it's not yours to hold on to, right? You kind of have a responsibility to be available when that gift is asked for. Even this week, I'm a small group leader for kindergartners through second graders, and that is not on my resume. I'll just tell you that, as being a worship pastor for 20 years. But for whatever reason, I have this gift to put on green feathers and connect with kids. And so I have an opportunity to say yes when God asks to use that gift. And so I think what I'm learning, to put a bow on it, is, and my prayer in this season is, Lord, help me to be faithful with what you've placed in my hands. And I think for us listening and searching, there's gifts and opportunities right there in front of us that God presents, right? What are we going to do with those gifts? Are we going to say yes? I think of Isaiah, that prayer that we have the opportunity to echo, here I am, Lord, send me. And so I think I'm, as I'm turning 40, and as I'm, you're reflecting, you're thinking, I think if there's any one sentence or statement or prayer, it's here I am, Lord. Here I am. Send me. Do whatever you want to do. It's a beautiful place to be 40. I think it takes a few years. You're not there at 20. You're halfway there at 30. But when you get to that place where you're like, Lord, I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to be anything other than who you called me to be. Now let me get comfortable in my own skin and just say yes. If you want me to look crazy, if you want me to go on a red carpet and ask questions about fast food orders and Jesus, whatever you want me to do, help me to be faithful with what you put in my hands. So that's where I'm at.
Love that, Johnny. That was so great. By the way, I got to put a quick plug in before I give my response. Johnny and I will be together again in the ATL on the weekend of August 2nd and 3rd. Johnny, tell
Yeah.
them about that real quick.
Yeah, we're hosting our own red carpet. No, I'm kidding. We're doing some Christian Music Guys podcast. A good friend of mine, Mark Lee, was one of the founding members of the band Third Day, and he's here in Atlanta. So Chad, myself, Mark, Ryan Loesch from the Church Collective, we're all coming together in Atlanta to do a 2-day conference. One day is a workshop. The second day is just a night of worship, just to pour into the spirit side of the skill set that comes with being a church creative. I think we have a lot of conferences that are needed that teach us the skill set, but we really want to lean into that spiritual piece of what it is that creatives do in worship and production. So August 2nd and 3rd, it's free. We're going to feed you Chick-fil-A probably, or maybe Popeyes, whatever's cheap.
Or Del Taco.
Yeah, or Del Taco, yeah.
Very good, Johnny. Well, I'll leave us on this little note. You know, I think the biggest thing I learned, and let's go back to the K-Love Fan Awards. You know, not necessarily that I learned it, but I think it really put an exclamation point on my thought. Is, especially here in America, is these things have become so politically divided, and no one wants to have conversations anymore. It's just kind of they believe what they believe, and they're going to tell you, very firmly in the world of politics. And I think, unfortunately, we kind of bring that same mindset over to the faith-based world, whether it be a theological discussion or, just other philosophical stuff. And it was fascinating to me, just, the number of people that Johnny and I got a chance to have conversations with and hear different viewpoints on things. It was really, really fascinating, and I learned a lot. And I think just having an open mind and listening to people is just so important, because I know that there's a lot of people who, kind of poo-poo any sort of award show in the Christian world because of, Jesus talks about, when the disciples were, who's the greatest among us, and all of that, and Jesus had to put them in their place. And I definitely get that, but I think that there's just something beautiful about people coming together and being able to have conversations, and just, what you guys do with this podcast. It's just such a valuable thing, and I think if we could just get everyone talking and learn from each other, it would do a world of good. So.
Amen.
Well, hallelujah. Louise Clark Purnell is the one that originated Cotton Eye Joe in 1882, just for your info.
Oh, we're getting a history lesson here.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Gracie know that. The remix, the Goodbye Yesterday remix is on the way.
Well, guys, thank you so much for chatting with us, and it was a blast, and we will be working together on many things in the future. So.
Yes.
Let's go.
We're excited for the next thing. We got to have some more fun and try to get you guys canceled. We got to get him canceled, Johnny. That's the goal.
Listen, I think if we're all four on the red carpet, they're not ready. That's all I'm saying.
No, that would be.
K-Love Cruz.
No.